Traditions concerning creatures half human, half fish in form have existed for thousands of years. Greek mythology contains stories of the god Triton, the merman messenger of the sea, and several modern religions including Hinduism and Candomble worship mermaid goddesses to this day. Many different cultures have their own versions of the mermaid legend, from ningyo in Japan to Ariel in Disney. There have been legends about people encountering mermaids since ancient times. Their beautiful looks and songs and their oceanic lifestyles have made mermaids an enigma for people around the world. But what were they really observing, and were they just tricks of the light, or did they see only what they wanted to see? Were people just faking these discoveries to gain publicity for whatever reason? Even today, the sightings continue to occur. Why do stories about the mythological mermaid still persist? The following are 5 stories about the myth of the mermaid. Number 5. The active past mermaid. British Columbia was hit with their own dose of mermaid excitement in 1967 when a mermaid was supposedly seen along the shore of Main Island. That evening, ferry riders claimed to have spotted a blonde woman sitting on the beach. The woman was topless, had long blonde hair and appeared to have the tail of a porpoise rather than legs. Some witnesses claimed to have seen her eating raw salmon. After the mermaid was sighted by the ferry passengers, she was spotted once again a week later. As more locals got swept up in the mermaid mania, the town locals attempted to delve a bit deeper into who or what it was they were observing. The local newspaper, The Colonist, offered a $25,000 reward for the mermaid. There was even room and board set up for the mermaid in the event she was captured, so she could acclimatise to the town. Whilst many believe the sighting was nothing more than a hoax, there were also many people who wanted to believe that it was real. Was the myth of the mermaid of Mania Island just a tourist trap? Number 4. The Hebridean mermaid. Scotland has an endless list of myths and legends, and mermaids are one part of Scottish folklore. In 1830, a mermaid was supposedly seen and killed by the people of Benbecula. A woman claimed that she saw a small woman swimming in the water while cutting seaweed by the shore. She was startled by what she found and called out for others to come and see the creature in the water. As the men began to rush the woman in the water, she swam away from them. Some of the boys in the group threw stones at the retreating mermaid, one of which hit her in the back of the head. Several days later, the corpse of the mermaid apparently washed ashore. Like many other supposed mermaid sightings, this mermaid was said to be small with pale white skin and the tail of a fish without any scales. After the body of the mermaid was found, the town sheriff felt it was right for the mermaid to receive a proper burial. The body was wrapped in a shroud and placed into a coffin. The coffin was then buried near the shoreline. Although the legend of the mermaid buried at the beach persists to this day, no one is sure just where the mermaid was buried. There are no markers or signs to show where the grave might be. So, what did the people in Benbecula really see on that day? Did they really kill a mythical sea creature? Number 3. The Bering Sea Mermaids. Henry Hudson was exploring the freezing northern waters off Norway in 1608. He wrote in his journal of the voyage about a strange encounter he'd had with a group of mermaids. Hudson claimed that the mermaid saw his crew and called for more of her sisters. The women were described as being as big as the sailors he was with pale white skin and long dark hair. As his eyes travelled down their bodies, Hudson spotted a tail that he said looked like the tail of a dolphin with the spotting of a mackerel. Hudson appeared to be thrilled about his mermaid discovery. Like with many sailors from back then, many assumed that the sailors could have mistakenly identified other animals, such as manatees, for these nautical women. What makes the story of the Bering Sea Mermaids so special is that there were no manatees in the Bering Sea. Naturalist Philip Henry Goss, in his novel The Romance of the Natural History, published in the mid-1800s, says he believes that there was no way Hudson could have been able to easily identify animals in that location. Goss believes that either Hudson made the whole thing up, or he did indeed see something that science has yet to understand. So, what sort of sea creature did the sailors really see that day? Number 2. Columbus and the Caribbean Mermaids. Christopher Columbus famously encountered what he believed were mermaids during his voyages near Hispaniola in the Caribbean. Columbus detailed in his ship's log that he and his crew encountered 3 mermaids during their time in the waters around the islands of Hispaniola. Columbus claims he saw the mermaids cavorting in the water, and as the ship drew close to them, the 3 mermaids rose out of the water. He recounted his dismay that the mermaids were not as beautiful as the legends said that they were. He felt that these mermaids were mannish and undesirable. It is now believed that Columbus and the Seattle crew had spotted a group of manatees. There are still questions surrounding how Christopher Columbus, a seasoned captain as he was, would possibly mistake the sea cow for being a human, no matter what she looked like. Number 1. The Denas Mermaid. The Hebridean mermaid isn't the only mermaid to come out of Scotland. Newark Bay had been the location of several mermaid sightings dating back to 1890. Many people believed that the mermaid talk was nothing but rumour and hearsay, but there were still many people sharing stories of what became known as the Denas Mermaid. However, the mermaid was apparently not the beautiful creature of the legends. People described the mermaid as being 7 foot long with pale white skin and black hair. She was said to crawl onto rocks with her arms and slide back down to the water. The few times people were able to see her were at a distance, as the mermaid was wary of humans and stayed away from the shore. However, the Denas Mermaid was only around for a few summers before quietly disappearing back into the depths of the ocean.